Hello people and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Deep Roy Chaudhary and I'm just a normal guy who talks about stuff that seems interesting and important to me. And today I'm going to talk about, should you use Chinese smartphones and Chinese apps? So this question comes from this question is especially relevant in today's day and age because tensions have flared up between India and China. Tensions had already flared up between US and China because Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, doesn't like China's trade policies, doesn't like the way China devalues its own currency and other things that China does. And that basically has led to increase in tensions between US and China. In the same way, a recent border clash between, I think it happened on the 15th of June, a recent border clash between Indian Army and the Chinese Army led to the deaths of 20 Indian soldiers and I think maybe more than 40 Chinese soldiers. Again, the Chinese haven't confirmed whether any soldiers or how many soldiers on their side were killed. But But the Chinese side has also suffered a substantial number of casualties. So that has led to a huge amount of tension between both the countries of India and China, and that has also led to a rising amount of anti-Chinese sentiment amongst the Indian populace or amongst certain sections of the Indian populace. In the same way, China has also, there are also increasing tensions between China and South Korea, China and Japan, China and Indonesia, China and Philippines. Basically, China has tensions have increased between China and all of its neighboring countries, I think, in some way, or maybe most of its neighboring countries. China has certain border issues and basically disputes regarding who owns the South China Sea. So there's a huge problem regarding that specific problem. South Korea, Philippines, Japan, Thailand, Cambodia. I think all of these countries have some stake or at least claim to have some stake on the South China Sea to varying degrees. I do not know the specifics. Just Google the whole South China Sea border, South China Sea border clashes, tensions on the South China Sea. You would know what I'm talking about. That on the just for that water body, or basically, there are precious natural resources that are there in South China Sea, and various countries are fighting for that. But almost everyone in the neighborhood kind of has a negative view of how China is trying to project itself as a rising power, as a rising military power in Asia. Now, with that being said, is it safe for you to use Chinese smartphones if you live in a democratic country? Is it safe for you to use Chinese apps like TikTok, WeChat, Weibo, and all these other apps that are out there? Well, Indian government decided to ban 59 apps, including TikTok, Weibo, WeChat, UC browser, etc. Basically, these apps that have a Chinese background or that are completely made in China, these apps were completely banned in China until further notice. I don't know how long this ban is going to be there. But it begs the question, is it safe for you to use these apps? Is it safe for you to use Chinese smartphones like Xiaomi, Huawei, Oppo, Vivo, Realme, all these Pocophone, all these various Chinese smartphones? So if you ask me, if you are worried about privacy, literally any government in this world, every government in this world, spies on its own citizens and on the citizens of other countries to some extent, I guess. But but China is a very different example. In various democratic countries, there are certain checks and balances that are there on the intelligence agencies of those countries. Of course, those intelligence agencies might flout those checks and balances without any shame. But at the end of the day, in democratic countries, if someone is unlawfully spied upon, there are certain legal recourses that company or that citizen or that group of people can take in a democratic country. But if you are spied upon in China, there is literally nothing you can do in China, because China is a communist dictatorship. China spies on its own citizens. I mean, the Uyghur Muslim population know it better than anyone. The Tibetan Buddhist population in China know it better than anyone. The way they are treated inside of China, the way they are spied upon, the way their human rights are trampled upon. So, using an American smartphone and using a Chinese smartphone are two different things. The Chinese smartphone companies, literally any company that is in there in China, has pretty close connections with the Chinese Communist Party. So the Chinese Communist Party wants to get your personal data, or wants to force the companies to hand over your personal data that you created while using a Chinese smartphone and while using a Chinese app. That personal data of yours can be forcefully handed over to the Chinese government. So based on this, a lot of people are saying that, you know what, you should boycott using, or you should boycott Chinese smartphones. You should stop using Chinese apps. So again, I do not know whether you should do that, but Chinese companies haven't always been known to be ethical, let's say. I mean, from intellectual property theft to a lot of other issues, Chinese smartphone companies have been accused of a lot of messed up things. More on this in the next video. Until the next video, please consider liking this video, please consider sharing this video with your friends and acquaintances, please consider subscribing to my channel, and until the next video, please stay safe, goodbye, and God bless you. Stay safe, goodbye, and God bless you. Yeah.